of cycle update. Like Shawn Michaels once said, it's like that little nugget that just won't flush. CryptoTalk.fm. My name is Leister. I'm your host. Did Saitama, the original Saitama, when I say the original Saitama, some of you don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but did the original Saitama just pump like crazy? The answer is yes. Crazy is a bit, but it did pump unreasonably. Let me just clarify for some that didn't understand. The original Saitama contract, we're talking the one that led to the pumps from the failed November 13th Vegas event of 2021. We're talking the one that was launched roughly about May of 2021. We're talking the very original one that had 100 quadrillion, I believe, a supply, burned half the supply, reflections, had a 2% buy tax and a 2% sell tax. That Saitama, the original Saitama, not the scam that they released after that was V2 that crapped and kept crapping. Not Cytochain, not any of the other scam ones that they did. I'm talking the very original one that's out there. That one did recently go on a little bit of a pump. I said crazy's a little bit, it's exaggerating because the dollar amount was not significant. This is a learning opportunity for you though. Allegedly, this is what I was told. Allegedly, some people, smaller investors, have taken it upon themselves after seeing the failure that was the Saitama V3 that I covered. And then this other Saitama V3 that Bleaves covered, and this other Saitama Wolfpack, and all these other caricatures of what was Saitama that keep popping up, where they claim that they want to reinvent and reignite the spirit of what was Saitama. And I keep telling them, it's a bad word in the minds of the investors, and you need to let it go. And if you just made something called it Wolf Hudson, don't Google that. Wolf Hudson, you probably been more successful, but for whatever damn reason, they keep going back to the word Saitama, and it fails over and over again. And I think people are just tired of seeing the failures. Here we see a pump on the original Saitama contract, as in legitimate buys and sells. What's going on? People decided that they're just going to buy into the original token. The original token has always still been out there. The contract was renounced when it was launched. That was one of the positives of it, was that it was renounced. The later ones were not renounced. The original one's liquidity is unlocked. The original one's liquidity is extremely low. I believe it's like $5,000, $6,000 or whatever the hell. So, okay, you got $6,000 in liquidity. You still have a 50 quadrillion supply. You do a sell or a buy in $100, $1,000. Look at how much percentage of the liquidity that is. It's going to cause a major shift in price. What does that mean? If somebody is going to roll the dice on the original contract, it's going to cause a pump simply because there's not enough liquidity. And it's a chance that somebody could yank out of the liquidity because it's unlocked. Somebody else might have put the liquidity pool up there to try to spur buys and sells as part of this initiative to try to reignite what they lost from the failed November 13th Vegas event. I can't say that is what happened. I'm saying this is the reason that you're seeing what appears to be a pump on the original contract. Is simply that people chose to buy in, and they are legit transactions. It's an open contract. You can buy and sell now on Uniswap or SushiSwap if you choose to. It does have reflections. So for what little volume there is, you would get reflections. Is it going to get back to that sanity that we saw before? No, because first, with the unlocked liquidity, it's highly unlikely. Second, you might not realize, but CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, the layman investor is going to go there to get the right contract address. So they're going to be steered towards the scam one, not the original one. Third, if you were to click links that try to tell you about the website, it's going to take you to the scam known as Cytochain.com. So no matter what, the layman investor is not going to find the original contract. The only way you'd know is if you were one of the insiders, or you're one of the marks that's out there, or you were told by one of the marks to go back in that contract. I'm not telling you what to do with your cash. I'm saying I don't think it's going to get to anywhere. I don't think it's going to do anything. And the reason that it's happening is simply because the liquidity is too damn low. Any buy of certain amounts or greater is going to shift the price. And then the amount, according to what the liquidity is going to shift it to a larger degree. And that's what you're seeing. It's a low liquidity project. It has a significantly high supply. Is it in some way possible? Let's just spitball this. Is it in some way possible? Absolutely. And I'm going to put this out as why I refer to some of these people as marks. Some of the people who spun up these other caricature Saitama projects dumped tens of thousands of dollars in that crap. Some of the people that were originally in Saitama went on to build up other garbage projects that failed or are failing, and they were dumping hundreds of thousands in those projects. My point, these same people could have taken, if they had the best of intentions, they could have taken that same money and instead of burning it on crap, they could have locked in a new liquidity pool for the original Saitama token, done the same type of promotional to advertise the token and get it out there because the original one is still active, available on certain exchanges, which means they already would have had a head start in the business and they're decoupled from the scammers because the scammers might still hold some of those tokens. Okay, who cares? They only have so many. At some point that they sell, they're going to be out of it. What am I proposing? I'm not proposing anything. I'm talking through why I call them marks, because they don't think it the fuck through. If they had just thought this through, they could have revitalized the original Saitama if they wanted to do that. And they should have done that, in my opinion, the moment that they launched V2. Because the moment they launched V2, they were telling the original community, we're leaving you behind. That's where they failed on the airdrops, remember? That's where they took away all the mechanics that appealed to you in the first place. You could have done a community takeover on the original Saitama, and they failed to do that. That's why they're marks. That's why I say they're not on your side. Because the reason they did that is because they knew they could make money off of you by building up another scam. That's exactly what's happened, folks. Go look at the list of all the different people that were in those projects. I could go down. Henoch, he goes off on that Apollo, at the time, Apollo Inu, Apollo Crypto DAO. What happens? I do coverage. I say, I don't see it's going to go anywhere. Get called a fudder. What happens? It craps. That's okay. Shido, which used to be Shido Inu, crapped. Shaman King, crapped. Volt, crapping. Everrise, crapping. I say crapped, but I have to be fair. Crapping. ID, crapped. On and on and on. And so my point, the only point, Angie, my only point here, every single one of them that were dumping, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars into crap, if they really cared about you as a, quote, Wolfpack member, they would have simply encouraged you to do a community takeover roughly around the time they launched V2, the scammers, and took the original one and just took it as their own and ran with it like Pitbull did. I'm concerned, I'm disappointed, I'm bothered, I'm not frustrated, but I'm disenfranchised at this point. But I'm sharing just the simple, because the question came, the pumps you see are legitimate. People are buying and selling. Do I think they should? No, because I think it's a trap because the liquidity could be yanked at this point. But it exposed an opportunity that we've lost of somebody who had the money, who instead goes to crap, otherwise, monkey crap or whatever crap, Volt crap or whatever crap, Apollo crap or whatever crap you want to call out. They could have invested that money into something that was actually benefiting the community. And that's what this exposed. The fact that it's pumping, that's what it exposed. Because the scammers, it's almost hands off at a point that, they're going to run out of tokens and they're locked up anyway. This would have been a huge opportunity. This would have been a massive turnaround. This would have been larger. I'm serious when I say this would and could have been larger than Luna Classic in what it could have done if you just done the damn thing. The fees, the buys and sells were a turnoff, but they were low enough that they were not a disincentive. What would have made it harder is that the contract is not optimized. There are flaws in the contract. At the time it was written, these were not well known that they would be flaws, but they cause higher gas charges than need be because of inefficiencies in the contract code. So we knew, okay, there could have been something there, but the contract's jacked up. It's pronounced. You can't fix these things. So leaving the contract behind might have been smart on behalf of the scammers. My point is, you still might have had a sentiment-based rush on the original token, if only because you have people that are willing to invest the money into something that was already established as being somewhat successful at a point, instead of spinning up more garbage, which essentially does what? Turns those people, those marks, into a bunch of grifters. And that's what we ended up with, is a bunch of grifts out there. Saitama was a grift, but it didn't start that way from what we saw, because people did make money. So if you made money, because some people made millions of dollars in this business, but maybe the intent was to grift, I'm saying that people made money here. People didn't make no damn money on some of this other crap that's out there. They can say they did. They didn't touch what Saitama would have made them doing the same investment of money into that project. Because Saitama, because it hit that bottom, if they had done so, it would have easily dropped 2 or 3 zeros. Easily. With a fraction of what it did before. Then you make sure, Jakey Gaines nowhere close to it so that he can't damage it with the drunken whatever was happening. And just do it right, and you could have had something there because it was the original meme and it had the notoriety and everything else. We're too late. So I'm going to advocate that you don't buy into it. I can't tell you what to do with your cash, but I'm going to advocate that you don't because I think it's a trap. Not because malicious, but simply because, the buy fee, the sell fee, inefficient contract. It's a dangerous situation. If you do, you might strike it. It's one of those one of those gambles where it just might come out like GigaChad. GigaChad started as a thing and then it crapped all the way down. And it actually launched on Ethereum, but it also had a different one. I think it was Binance. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it drops to zero out of nowhere. So anybody that was sitting on it and just left it was able to get out and make some money before it crapped again. So I'm telling you that these opportunities are viable opportunities that this one could be subject to, but I can't promise anything. Thus, I will never tell you to do it. I'm saying if you choose to do it, understand the risks that you are taking on. The buy fee is going to hit you. The sell fee is going to hit you. The contract's inefficient, so gas is going to be expensive. Expect to pay at least, I'm talking right now, at least $20-$30 for a transaction and upwards of hundreds of dollars, because of this inefficiency. It's like a percentage of what you trade. Just be mindful. That's what you're getting into if you choose to do this business.